What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another news video. Now, there's some potentially huge changes coming in the world of professional wrestling. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at your 21st October 2019 news, including Randy Orton teasing a jump to All Elite Wrestling, an injury to a top WWE superstar, an update on WWE Morale, Seth Rollins' latest verbal volleys on Kenny Omega and Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff comments on leaving the WWE, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. But let's waste no further time and get into the first story, as the Viper teases a move. Randy Orton recently tweeted a major hint that he's considering a jump to All Elite Wrestling. In case you missed it, the 13-time world champion tweeted a photo of him standing near a sign that reads Elite Level with the caption TikTok TikTok. Orton also tagged the following wrestlers in his tweet: The Revival, Luke Harper, Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, Riddick Moss, and Elias. You may recall that Orton's contract is believed to be up in January of 2020. As Ringside News reported last year that Orton signed a 10-year deal with the WWE in January of 2010, which means he could be in AEW in early spring 2020. It goes without saying that AEW would be interested in signing Orton, as it would be seen as a major coup by the new wrestling promotion and another sign that AEW is the place to be. Just weeks after AEW announced its debut for Double or Nothing, WrestleVotes reported that AEW was interested in signing a major WWE star. Not long after that, Fightful.com's Sean Ross Sapp learned that Randy Orton was rumoured to be the wrestler in question. In early February, Sapp clarified the situation, saying, "Now, they did not reveal the name, and I know who the name is. Now, before I get into this, I'm not going to say that this person was offered an AEW deal. I'm not saying that happened because I don't know if that happened. In fact, I asked people in AEW about this, and I was told, we are not tampering. We are not doing that. Our approach is fresh and independent is the goal for a majority of our recruitment. What you're likely seeing is a particular agent trying to leverage more money out of WWE by possibly planting shit like this." The comments raise a valid point though. Is Orton teasing an AEW move as leverage for a bigger WWE contract? AEW World Champion Chris Jericho also chimed in on the pic, posting, "Send in a tape and some pics and I'll see what I can do." Jericho may obviously be trolling, but he has tagged in The Revival and Luke Harper, three superstars who have been vocal about wanting to leave the WWE, which only adds to the suspense and suspicion of Orton jumping. What do you guys think? Orton has been in the WWE almost his entire wrestling career. Should he make the jump now? Next up, are we going to see another mass firing of WWE superstars? Recently, Brian Alvarez discussed the WWE's locker room mentality during an episode of Wrestling Observer Live. I was told today there may be more releases coming. Who knows? Morale has not been good for a long time, but apparently the morale has taken an even bigger hit since October 1st. If you recall, the belief within WWE, their idea was, oh my god, we're going to Fox and a new boom period is going to kick off. The WWE seems to have no lasting momentum from some of its recent moves, whether you consider the move to Fox, NXT's debut on USA, and the WWE draft. Ratings continue to slide and there seems to be no vision for the company. The draft was seen as a complete dud and the company continues to spin its wheels creatively. But the thought of another WWE mass release, something the WWE did in 2016, where the WWE released 8 superstars in one day, could raise some potentially big scenarios. The WWE has been opposed to granting releases to anyone who has asked for them of late, whether it's Luke Harper or more recently Mike Kanellis, but if the WWE was to release either star, it's likely they could find work in AEW. While AEW officials have repeatedly said the company is not going to become a haven for every ex-WWE superstar, Harper and Kanellis have lots to offer AEW, as Harper is a talented big man, while Kanellis fits in well with AEW's roster of similarly sized grapplers with outstanding ring skills. That's not to say that WWE will release either superstar. The current roster is loaded with talent, some might say bloated, and there are a number of other stars, rookies and veterans it could release. Next up, Xavier Woods is injured. Now, bad news for New Day fans, as New Day member Xavier Woods was injured during a tag match against The Revival during a WWE live event in Sydney, Australia. While we don't know the extent of the injury, he did tweet a picture of the Achilles tendon and common causes of injury. PW Insider's Mike Johnson commented that there's no official diagnosis, but if Woods suffered a full tear, Woods could be out of the ring as long as 6 months. Next up, Seth Rollins takes shots at AEW. Seth Rollins has clearly taken on the role of not only WWE Universal Champion, but the promotion's social media attack dog. The architect has apparently found another venue for throwing shade at the WWE's new arrival AEW, that of wrestling conventions. During an appearance at Houston's Pandemic Tour, Rollins was asked about facing AEW's Kenny Omega. He cheekily mentioned, when Kenny is done playing in the minor leagues over there, Kenny can come work in the absolute top professional wrestling company in the world, in front of the most people, make the most money, and have the biggest matches, which is with me at Wrestlemania. Omega did ponder a move to the WWE last year, but chose to sign with AEW. Now it's unlikely he's living a hand-to-mouth existence in AEW, and seems to be happy where he's at. But speaking of Seth Rollins, he went off on Vinnie Mac. It's not a stretch to say there are more than a few WWE fans who consider Vince McMahon to be a weird old man, and apparently so does Universal Champion Seth Rollins. During a recent autograph signing, Rollins was asked when Seth would revisit the all-white outfit immortalized in the Funko Pop figure. He replied, "No, Vince won't let me wear it because he's a weird old man that doesn't understand that people think it's the coolest gear they've ever seen. He doesn't get it. I get that question more than anything else. It's just huge, man. People love it. I think it's in our archive like I gave it to our archivist guy. He puts it up at the accesses and stuff." Next up, Eric Bischoff discusses his WWE departure. Now that Eric Bischoff is out as SmackDown's executive director, he's free to discuss his time in the WWE and his thoughts on why his recent bid in the WWE didn't pan out. He discussed the situation during an episode of his podcast, 83 Weeks.
You know, my feelings right now are, number one, I was really grateful for the opportunity, to work at WWE, and it was an opportunity. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. It clearly didn't work out the way Vince McMahon wanted it to work out, but that happens. And I'm not taking any of it personally. Professionally, taking a hard look at it and thinking it through, but I'm more than anything, I'm just grateful for the opportunity. And part of the reason I am is, I had a chance to work with a great team of people. The writing staff for SmackDown in particular, as well as a lot of the other writers who were on Raw. They are a very, very talented and unbelievably hardworking and dedicated group of people. And just to have the opportunity to work with people like that in and of itself was worth this experiment. I didn't come here thinking I was going to be in WWE for 5 or 10 years. I looked at it as a relatively short-term opportunity, meaning 2 to 3 years. I didn't think it would be quite this short-term, but sometimes that happens. WWE is a great company with a very defined culture and process, and I didn't necessarily fit into it, and that's just the way it is. I'm not sad, I'm not disappointed, I'm not angry, I'm not any of those things.
Bischoff, who has never been shy about calling out the dirt sheets, also had something to say concerning any animosity towards Bruce Pritchard, the man currently serving as SmackDown's executive director.
If there's anything out there that suggests that Bruce and I are anything other than the best of friends and that I'm fully supportive of him, I think defines the bullshit and like I say, the digital diarrhea that dirt sheets and the douchebags that write them live off of, because nothing could be further from the truth. That is such nonsense. Bruce is probably the reason I got the opportunity in the first place. I can tell you that Bruce had nothing to, this is a decision that Vince McMahon made based on whatever was going through his mind. And I am 1,000% sure that anything Bruce Pritchard said had nothing to do with that. Bruce is one of my closest friends. He's going to remain one of my closest friends.
When Bischoff's podcast co-host Conrad Thompson asked Bischoff if he'd do things over, he answered,
"Yep, no regrets. None whatsoever." When I took this job, I knew what the odds were of it being a long-term opportunity for me. And I let me just say it this way. I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed. Not going to lie. I am disappointed. I would have liked to have met, Vince McMahon's expectations, and I would have liked for it to have been a longer run than it was. I'd be completely dishonest if I didn't admit that. But at the same time, I'm not completely surprised either. I went into it with my eyes wide open, and I knew what the challenges would be. And like I said, it didn't work out. So, but I'm not. Yes, I would do it over again in a heartbeat.
As we've seen over the last few days, everyone has their thoughts on Bischoff's abrupt exit from the WWE, including a WWE Hall of Famer. Current AEW Dynamite announcer Jim Ross has a wealth of wrestling knowledge and insight concerning not only the action in the ring, but many things going on backstage. Good old JR recently shared his thoughts on Eric Bischoff's ouster as SmackDown Executive Director, as well as his thoughts on Bischoff's replacement, Bruce Pritchard. This whole scenario is set up for a succession process. Do you think Bruce is safe? You think Bruce got a job like a Supreme Court Justice for life? Are you kidding? You don't think that. I guarantee you don't think that he knows that his time will come. It's like football coaches. They get hired to be fired. As Wrestlelamia speculated when Bischoff and Paul Heyman were hired to jumpstart the WWE's creative process, there were questions over how much input either man would have. Given Vince McMahon has the final say, and whether their hire was window dressing for the WWE's poor showing in its Q2 financial report. Whatever the case, Pritchard will find himself pressured to fix the Blue Brand's ever-decreasing ratings, as he knows he could be future endeavored just as quickly as Bischoff was. But there you have it guys, the latest wrestling news stories for today. What are your thoughts on Seth Rollins' comments? As well as Randy Orton making a possible move to AEW. Is Randy just trolling us? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.